Hello and welcome to the Worn and Wound podcast. My name is Blake Bettner, and I'm thrilled to be joined today by Mr. Zach Weiss. Hello, Zach. We're in studio here.
Hello, Blake. Pleasure to be here.
We have two guests today. We have Zach Kazan, Mr. Zach Kazan. Hello, how are you? Welcome.
Hey, I'm doing well.
Excellent. And we also have, making a triumphant return, Mr. Ed Jelley. Ed, how are you? Welcome to the podcast.
I'm doing well. Great to be back.
Good. Good. Yeah, boy. So we are here to talk about some watches that we saw that we didn't see. We are not in Geneva right now.
No.
But some of the watches that have come out of the Geneva Watch Days show. These are. We're not gonna lie. These are high end luxury watches. I can speak for myself. I don't know if any of you plan on buying any of these. I certainly don't.
Not today or tomorrow, but we'll see.
Definitely not.
I'm talking to a firm about that 1,000-year plan. It keeps coming up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you just hand over the payment plan to your generation.
Oh
Exactly.
Yeah, I like the way that sounds.
Yeah. So, these are conversation pieces.
They're
so
conversation
it's perfect
pieces,
for a conversation.
and there's still some really cool
Yeah.
watches in there.
Yeah.
And if you haven't noticed, all the watches that we write about and talk about, we're not suggesting that you go out and buy or anything like that. We just think they're cool for some reason or another, so we'll end up talking about a few of those today. Before we get there, though, let's do a wrist check, and then we can kind of catch up a little bit on some new incomings and stuff like that. Zach Kazan, what is on your wrist?
Today I'm wearing my Grand Seiko Spgh 271.
All right, very cool.
Yeah.
It's been a popular watch on here.
It's really, I sold my my Pelagos a while back,
That's
and
right, yeah.
ever since then I've really just been wearing the Grand Seiko pretty much day in and day out.
Okay, well, nothing wrong with that. Zach Weiss, what are you wearing?
I have on the Synchron Military again, PVD,
Again.
with a green strap today.
Yeah, looks good on that too.
I thought so.
What a shocker.
It's green, military green on a military watch.
Yeah.
It's very dark and gloomy in New York as we have the kind of tail end, I think, of Ida, right? So that's kind of what's passing through the Northeast. So it felt like the right watch for the day.
Yeah, it looks like an arm of it is maybe reaching out to give us a high five up here
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit maybe this afternoon. So, the impending doom upon us. You've got the right watch on. Ed Jelley, are you prepared? What are you wearing?
I'm prepared to track 2 time zones, or if things go dark, I could see if it's day or night in a cave, as GMT watch is capable of doing. I recently picked up a Grand Seiko Spgh N003, and it's great. It's fantastic. I haven't taken it off.
Congratulations. We'll get
very
back to that in just a second. I'm wearing Josh, what are you wearing over there?
I'm rocking to the Timex Q, the root beer edition.
Nice. Love it.
Excellent.
And I'm ready for the worst of the weather. I've got a Rolex Submariner on. That's pretty beat up. I haven't worn this in a while. And it just felt like a good sub kind of day. It's pretty wet out there, pretty gross. Anyways, Ed, you just bought a Grand Seiko.
I did.
Tell us about this watch a little bit. What is this a watch that you had been looking at for a while, or was it more of a spur of the moment? I like that. I'm going to hop on it.
This is my second Grand Seiko. It is my second 9F quartz, and I don't know. Both these watches just kind of like smacked me out of nowhere. Like part of me, I'm gonna get out of the way. It looks like an Explorer 2. There are some very heavy similarities between this watch and the Rolex Explorer 2, and I don't know where I'm at in my life. I'm a father of 2 kids, and I have responsibilities, and I just don't see myself being able to buy an Explorer 2 on, let's be at real gray market. I can't spend that kind of money. And I didn't buy this as a Rolex replacement. I love Grand Seiko.
Yeah.
I love my other 9F. Having a high accuracy quartz watch has been just like kind of oddly liberating, especially when you have a lot of stuff going on. You just grab it and it's set literally to the second, and it doesn't change. But this is kind of one of those ones that popped up on Instagram. I'm like, ooh, I don't have a GMT. Kind of been feeling that like steel set 24-hour bezel type look, and this one fit the bill. And I like the orange the orange GMT hand quite a bit. So the Rolex kind of takes like a more circular, round, curvy approach, and the Seiko is definitely a bit more sharp, angular, and not flashy, but I mean the polish on this thing really pops.
Yeah, it's got its own thing going on, I think, which is great.
What's the size on that one?
39.
39.
And 39 is fantastic. It's got like kind of curved lugs going on. So this is my third watch with like the Lyra style lug, like on a Speedmaster. So my Speedmaster, my Doxa Sub 200, and now this all have that heavy kind of bevel in the case that curves down into the termination of the lug at the bottom. And the thing that really jumps out about this to me is like how wearable it is. Like the case design is great. The lugs curve down, it hugs your wrist, 39 millimeters, nice little crown guards. And it's just like the perfect size. I think it's like 12.1 millimeters thick. So it's like really very, very wearable. And pop it on a strap, pop it on the bracelet. It's like just good to go.
Yeah, very cool. Have you ever put it, well, I know you just got it, but have you put it next to your other 9F and see which one is more accurate than the other?
I think they're like a fraction of a second off from each other.
Okay.
What is it? Spgh V245 I bought last November is still spot on with time.gov. So in almost a year, it's not even a second off. So
wow.
Crazy. I mean, I had to set it for daylight savings, but the 9F Quartz seconds hand keeps going, and you can independently adjust the minutes hand without screwing up your timing run. So
it's kind of nice.
Yeah,
it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And same with the GMT function. This has a jumping local hours hand, so you set the GMT hand to your home time, and then you use the main hours hand as your travel time.
Yeah.
And you pull the crown out and you just click it over, and it'll jump in hour increments. So you don't have to mess up your timing run with that either, even if you're jumping through time zones. And I think it does a fun thing with the date wheel, but I haven't really messed with that. I'm not going anywhere.
Right on. This is, I know this was a popular watch when we wrote about it. It came in a few different dial variations, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is
There's a blue one.
Blue. Was this the one we were talking about, the color of the?
This is the generation before that.
Okay,
I think. But it's a different case altogether. So
okay.
Yeah, this is more of a classic case, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Whereas that other one is the kind of like barrel.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, very cool watches. I've always liked those. I remember when they first came out, just being like, I don't know, it felt a little different for Grand Seiko even. Yeah, was that the first 9F with the GMT?
I think it was.
Yeah.
I used to own this very watch, not Ed's example, but I own this watch concurrently at the same time as the Grand Seiko that I own now, and I only sold it because I kind of didn't really want to own two Grand Seikos, and a friend of mine wanted to buy it, and it felt like a easy thing to do, to just sell to my friend. I'd still see it from time to time, but it's a great watch. It's exactly right. It's just incredibly comfortable, and I always found it to be like nice and compact and easily wearable, and kind of discreet. But yeah, just a wonderful watch, and super accurate. 9F Quartz is an amazing technology.
Well, cool. Congratulations, Ed, on the pickup. Zach Kazan, you sold your Pelagos. You just mentioned. I think we've mentioned it maybe once or twice on the podcast before. Did you replace it with anything?
No, not really. I did pick up the Anordane Model 1 at the wind up pop up a few months back. But I haven't taken that funding generated from the Pelagos sale and applied it to anything else. I'm still kind of weighing my options, trying to figure out what I want my next move to be.
You were waiting for the Geneva Watch Day releases, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I need to put down a deposit on something right away. So.
Well, cool. No, I mean, do you have your eye on anything, or are you just kind of testing the water, seeing see if anything catches your eye?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of scrolling through Reddit Watch Exchange, and just kind of flipping through old articles on Hodinkee and Worn and Wound, just kind of looking for inspiration, and lots of Instagram doom scrolling, and it's I don't really have anything specific that I have my sights set on. I'm I mentioned a few podcasts ago, I'm just kind of trying to enjoy the watches I currently own. I have been wearing the Anordane. That's kind of the only thing I've been wearing besides the Grand Seiko recently, and I'm really enjoying that. So I feel like maybe I'm entering more of a a casual or dressy phase, and maybe my next watch will be kind of in that vein, and not so much like a tool or sports watch. So so we'll see.
Yeah, cool. There was nothing wrong with that. That Ordain was beautiful. I know that went over really well with everyone that saw that at the pop-up. So Zach, what that brings up, like, you mentioned scrolling through Watch Exchange, Reddit.
Yeah.
I know we all probably do the same thing with like Watch Recon and or Watch You Seek
all the time.
I noticed this guy earlier. The user Soy Cowboy on he always gets these like NOS watches from like the 80s or 90s that are watches I don't know, like some of them I've never heard of, and they're like Surf Timer I think he had on there the other day, and he's got this like teal green Seiko chronograph something or other from, I don't know where he gets these things, but they're like pristine. So shout out to you, Soy Cowboy, for finding some cool watches. Do you find yourself like, do you usually buy watches like that? Like, I'm just scrolling to see what's available, or is it more of I have something in my head that I know that I want, and I'm going to look or wait for that watch, or a little bit of both, I guess. Right?
I'd like to be the latter, but I think in my watch buying days have been too often the former, where you're just innocently scrolling Watch Recon, and then that happens to be the time that like that Lemania 5100 chronograph shows up at that right price point or something. And
a watch that's been in the back of your head for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that's totally what happened. Like, when I got like my Speedmaster reduced the other. Well, no, is it? Or did I look? I can't remember anymore. But it was. I was kind of like it was that in my back of my mind kind of a thing. I'd sort of been like, I'm going to get that, and then it like showed up and it was the perfect price and everything. I was like, well, now I have to, because I kind of made my promise. But yeah,
I guess that's the other approach, right? You have like maybe 10 or 15 watches that are kind of like always you're kind of like noshing on, and then if you see it and it's like, oh, that's the one,
But yeah, I mean this. I didn't actively I'm holding this up. If you're listening, that is the Synchron Military. I saw it at our event on the wrist of a person who came to the event, and I liked it a lot, but I did not actively seek it out. It was just there within like a week on Watch Recon, and that's and then I did that stupid thing where I like DM'd the guy being like, is it still available, like knowing it hadn't sold. Which is just like, and if they say yes, which of course they're going to because they didn't list it as sold, like, I was like, well, now what am I going to do? I can't be rude and stop talking to them.
Yeah. Was your next DM like, I hate to pull this card, but I'm kind of a big deal.
No.
My name is Zach Weiss.
No, I never.
Maybe you've heard of me.
I always wait until after I pay, and then they're like, "Wait, are you that Zach Weiss?" I'm like, "Yeah."
You gotta hit him with you got any wiggle room there on that? Is there any wiggle room?
Yeah,
That's like usually my last line before I'm like making a PayPal transaction.
Like, oh, by the way,
No, just like you got any wiggle room on price? And they're like, yeah, I'll take $50 off because you asked. And I'm like, sold. Just spent $2,500 because of a $50 discount.
Yeah, there you go.
I guess it depends on like the price in this instance was so fair. I mean, it was like the price of the watch with the tax they would have and shipping they would have paid originally. So I was like, no point in trying to like get it lower.
For me, if I ask for anything, it's the shipping. It's like, come on. Like when I put a watch up for sale, it's always like price includes shipping. All
next thing you know, it's just taped to a postcard and thrown.
That's not how you guys ship watches. Come on.
Padded envelope. Just
just toss it in there. No, the last two watches that I bought were not for me. So I haven't actually bought a watch for myself in for me a long time, like 2 months.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a little bit of that itch, but I satisfied it by I bought my wife a Cartier, two-tone Santos. It's our 10th anniversary that's coming up, so it was kind of for that, and we call it for her birthday too. But I've been talking about getting. She's been wanting a watch like this for a long time, so I found one and jumped on it. And it's absolutely beautiful. I wish she'd let me size brace it for me too, so I could wear it. But yeah, no, she loves wearing it. It's a stunning watch. And the other watch is that Parchi Pal. For my son that I got him, and he really loves it. So he has. I'll tell you this quick story. We went into the Vempe, up on Fifth Avenue. A little while back, and the guy that runs the store there, Rudy, kind of gave us. We were chatting with him for a little while. I had my wife and son with me, and talking watches, and he went and showed us a few things downstairs, and I didn't buy anything. We were just kind of catching up and meeting and stuff like that. And then when he was showing us the service area, they have these. Oh boy, I hope I can talk about this publicly. These like. Don't go in here asking for this, but like if you get your watch service there, they have like this complimentary like watch for kids. I guess it's like kind of small. It's quartz. It's I'm sure very inexpensive.
Right.
And my son happens to be in a phase where he's asking like, is that rare? Like it's he wants everything to be the rarest or the most or the this. Or
He's
that.
got the collector gene.
He's got the collector gene already. Yeah. So he asked him, "Is this rare?" And Rudy said, "You can't even buy that. It's that rare." So he thinks that this is this like very, very special watch. So he keeps it like in this tin and he doesn't wear it, and he thinks it's like because I tell him like, "Oh, all the watches I have, you can just go and buy." And so he thinks that watch is like the most special watch between all of our watches.
Yeah.
So I hope he hangs on to that one for life.
Should.
And on the back it says like not for sale.
Oh yeah, that's very cool.
So anyway, so while he's not wearing that, he wears his Parchipel watch. We got him the teal one with the yellow dial, which is sized perfectly for his wrist. He can manipulate the Velcro strap on it really well. So so he likes it. He likes it quite a bit. So if you've got kids around that age, 9, 10, whatever, and like they like your watches, but they don't have the wrist for it, definitely look into these. And there's some other ones, and even baby G-Shocks are good, and Flick Flack stuff like that. Right? There's
still exists. I wasn't even sure, but they definitely still exist. And they're neat.
Yeah, but if you want something new or off the beaten path, check out the Parchi watches. I've been pretty impressed for $50.
That's very cool.
It. So, What about? We already talked about you. Yeah, you just got that watch. You don't have anything else incoming.
I'm not gonna talk about that.
Okay. Well,
Just
we'll keep bugging you about it. We'll bug you about it next.
You'll find
week.
out. Later.
Zach Zan, don't let us forget.
Oh, I won't.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious.
Yeah.
I don't think next week. I think it might be a longer wait.
It might be a little while. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, we'll be here. To
Not that
you.
anything happened.
Not that. Okay. All right. Ed Jelley, you got any other incomings over there?
No, man, I'm tapped. I'm good for now.
You're good for now. You got two kids. You already told us
I'm
this.
flush with Seiko 9F quartz and also small children. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
All right. So let's move over to Geneva Watch Days. We can talk about anything interesting that you guys found from this event. Where do you guys want to start? Should we start? Let's start out with not the watch. Let's start out with the MB&F orb. I don't know if you guys saw this. They do these collaborations with Le Pay. Probably pronouncing that incorrectly. But these kind of like table clocks, and they've taken all kinds of different forms in the past. Some like really kind of neat classical stuff. Some more like really kind of hyper modern, like futuristic looking, like you're expecting from MB&F. And this it's an orb. So it's like a sphere that breaks open like an egg, I guess, and then it like stands on the legs, and the watch or the clock part of it is kind of suspended over it. Did you guys see this thing? I think it comes in white and black. I thought this was pretty trick. Do you guys like stuff like this?
I'm looking at it now. I honestly.
What's your first reaction? Right out of
my first reaction is really, really nerdy. Okay. It reminds me of the ghosts from the video game Destiny.
Okay.
Any Destiny fans out there?
That is pretty nerdy.
Yeah.
So I went Portal with
Okay.
There too, yeah. In the Destiny 1, oh God, I'm forgetting his name. So the ghost is like this little thing that goes around with your character, and it's like rejuvenates you and whatever, and it talks. Yeah. And it was, God, I'm totally blanking. The actor who played Tyrion Lannister, what was his name? I'm just totally.
I don't even know who that is.
Sure.
Tyrion Lannister. What's that?
Do you guys not watch Game of Thrones?
Is this literally Dance?
No, that was Tyrion's father.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Are you really the only person who watched Game of Thrones?
Peter Dinklage.
Josh,
Peter Dinklage. Thank you.
I'm trying to, but I'm like, I got no idea.
Thank you, Ed. Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage.
So he was the original voice of this thing when the game first launched.
Okay.
So people nicknamed it Dinklebot, and it was this great thing, and you could hear him talk to you the whole time you played this game. And like the video gamers didn't like it. and they were like, the acting's terrible, whatever. And it's like acting in a video game. Like, don't even get me started. But like, whatever. This guy was reading bad lines that were written for a video game, then they overwrote it.
Oh,
and it's some update. Peter Dinklage was written out of the game.
So if you have a version, if you have like an old,
you probably can't even play it. It's like
that's-
Destiny 1 from like 2014 or something, unupdated.
I wonder if they sell on eBay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I don't know. That's my tangent. Thank you, Max Booster and friends.
Oh yeah, the MBNF, the orb. Yeah, no, I like that. I like it when that's like a kind of, they might have taken inspiration from something, but once it's in the public realm, it's for the public to decide. Like it's your connotation. What about you guys? Does this remind you of anything else? Do you guys like table set things like this?
I like these. I like these clocks. I think they're cool. Whenever I see one of these, written about on Hodinkee or wherever, I always try to like imagine it on my desk and like telling the time. And I feel like they're like the time telling piece is never in like a good position. Like this one, it points straight up. It's like, how do you? I don't know. It doesn't seem convenient if it's like a desk object. You have to like stand up and look down upon it to tell the time. I don't know.
Just put the $18,000 orb on the floor.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
It looks like there's a little stand for it, so it'll look
000.
sort of look at you. The stand is the extra 10,000. So you can position it straight up, or it's sort of pointed at you.
Pointed right at you. Yeah, Zach, come on.
I would keep it pointed directly at me at all times in that case.
Yeah,
this is clearly a very functional piece, and it's not art at all. You just tell the time, and that's it.
Yeah, it can be both. So Ed, I take it you're not. You don't have stuff like this all over your desk.
Yeah, no. I have my desk is covered in like fountain pens and like weird other random junk, but no, it's cool. I mean, it's one of those things that it's art, and it's time telling, and it's art through mechanical horology. Yeah. And not something I'd ever get, but like if I happen to go to a doctor or something and they had that sitting on their desk, I'd probably be like, all right, I'm in the right place. He's doing all right.
That's who's buying these things, doctors. Yeah. By the way. Yeah.
That's definitely like in the like lab for when you're getting your like cybernetic eyeball or something. Yeah.
Josh, would you have one of these?
Yeah, Josh is a hot take.
I just looked it up now. I'm like, is it the thing with the spider legs?
No, but that's a different, similar concept. Okay. Like it is a clock.
All right.
Yeah.
I was like, this is very nerdy and very interesting though. Like striking. Like it's definitely gonna draw your eye to it. But yeah.
So the orb, I think it's clean and modern-ish looking. I don't know. Like it's. I like these things a lot. I always just wish there was like one less zero on the price. Because it is just kind of like something but I guess you're looking at it all the time. I don't know. If you got the money for it and bought one, great. I wouldn't judge you. I think it's pretty cool. But
I could definitely see myself at some point in my life being like, you know what, I need a $2,000 to $3,000 wild looking desk clock. I'm not there now, but a $30,000 desk clock is might be still a stretch.
A little bit. Yeah. All right, so that's the one thing that like kind of caught my eye, and you guys know I've got a kind of a soft spot for MBNF. Was there anything in particular that caught your guys' eye, Zach Weiss? What do you think?
Sure. But I don't want to steal Zach Kazan's thunder because I know he wrote the article on it, and I don't know how to pronounce the name. Chapek and C.
I think. Oh boy, is Zach Kazan? Is that what you were going to talk about?
I mean, I'm a fan of that watch, but there are other watches on our list that we made here that I really like.
I'll roll with it real quick.
Just roll with it.
Just because Zach wrote about it, so I'm also probably gonna get things that wrong. So Zach, you can just fill in the blanks.
I also don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, it's the Chapek and C Antarctique maybe watch. It's a Retroponte chronograph with an open dial work that has the very, very unique feature, and perhaps the only time this has been done, where the column wheels of the chronograph, the whole chronograph mechanism, are dial facing. So you can watch, the mechanism at play while you're using it, which is just, it's just a beautiful mechanism to watch. But I think they did just such an excellent job doing an open dial work that when I saw it, I immediately reminded me of like a Crivia and some of these other kind of high-end manufacturers, because there's really nothing ornate about their execution, yet it's very obviously finished beautifully, and it's just very mechanical and technical looking. The way the subdials are registers are set below the center line, and there's a little, even the dials, which are just these metal discs, have like a little indent in them for the lower column wheel. Like, it's just really an exceptional looking piece.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's very interesting to look at, and this is a brand that I've kind of like been paying attention to on and off over the past couple of years, and this is a line that has existed before. They've done I think time and date or time only models, and they've even done special editions of this watch with like these really interesting like lacquer dials of all these different colors that bleed together that look really neat. But this feels like obviously like a whole nother extension of it, and I thought they did a really beautiful job. And I will say this, I think it's just under $50,000. I think it's a good buy.
Yeah,
like for what it is.
I completely agree.
Like this is a lot of watch for the
What
money.
could you compare this to just price wise? Like what does a Longa split go for?
Well, I mean, it has 6 figures in it.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
And this is steel, whereas that would be
in a precious metal.
Precious metal.
Yeah.
I imagine Pateks are 6 figures as well.
Yeah. I mean, Zach, you wrote about this. What was you probably know more than any of us do about it.
Well, I mean, just in terms of the value aspect of it, and it's kind of silly, I know, to be talking about like value in a watch that costs $50,000. Like, that's a ton of money, obviously.
Not after a $30,000 clock, though. So
right, it's the kind of thing like if you buy this, maybe they throw in the clock on top of it, get a package deal. But like, I mean, it's low hanging fruit to make fun of the Patek Philippe Nautilus, but like when you consider that like the green dialed Nautilus like sells at auction for nearly $500,000, and this thing, which is like genuinely novel and it's in the way that it presents this complication, is available for $50,000. I think that like that kind of like there's value there that's kind of undeniable. This is not a brand that has like a hype watch, like they're kind of under the radar. So I think if you're kind of well-heeled and want to buy, like a fancy watch, like a statement piece, like this is kind of an under the radar way to do it. If you don't want if you don't want to like wait in line for a Royal Oak or a Nautilus, or pay like well above retail for something on the gray market. But no, it's incredibly cool. I think the like the way that they did the open work dials, it's very dramatic looking, and I'd be curious to see it in motion. And all the folks who have seen it at Geneva Watch Days, people that we follow on Instagram, like they all are raving about it, and folks who've seen it in person. So very, very cool watch.
Ed Jelley, did you see this watch? What was your reaction to it?
I did see it. I love the back of it. I mean, I know like it's like kind of party in the front end, party in the back, that rotor with like the crazy bridges holding it up, and it's like a big chunk of gold spinning around back there, and you can see all the the other workings you can't see from the front. It's kind of cool to see the front and the back, and then you kind of get a view of the side of the case, which is kind of cut in on one side and then bumped out on the other, which is kind of unique. It's almost like it's hard to tell because I'm only looking at pictures, but it looks like you're kind of sliding a Jenga block out, if that makes any sense. You're getting like a nice middle piece out, whereas the left side of the watch is indented, and then you've got almost that like Patek Philippe style Nautilus, almost crown guard looking thing on the right side by the crown with the integrated pusher into it. Just a very cool design, and it looks both classic and kind of future forward at the same time, which they kind of mix together in a pretty neat way. Usually skeleton stuff is very futuristic and kind of heavy on the sci-fi style, and you don't really see classic watchmaking and skeletonized complications like this blend together so well.
Yeah. I think it's really hit or miss. We were talking about the Breguet tradition it's kind of like an open dish. That just
a similar concept with moving things to the front.
And like it's very conscious about what it moves. It just moves like from the main spring to the going gear train and the escapement, and that's like it, and that's all that's moved onto the dial. But you can see all of that stuff kind of like working in harmony, and it's really beautiful. I think it can be pushed into a way where it looks like kind of corny and. I don't know, but when it's done really well, I think it's really fantastic.
And it's actually nice that they were sort of restrained in what they did, and like they didn't move the escapement up as well, which is like you know, I think the go-to thing because it's always in motion and it kind of, you know, you can show it to your friends and be like, look, thing. But this is really like, it's very nerdy kind of aspect. And I mean, it puts the emphasis on the chronograph development and yeah, I agree. I mean, it's at no point when I looked at that watch did I think like, wow, this is sort of hard to look at, which is sometimes like a feeling I get when I look at some skeletonized watches. And I don't mean to pick on them, but like some of Tag Heuer's skeletonized watches can be particularly aggressive. And we were actually just in the new Bucherer time machine store on 57th Street. And we were just walking through the store and they were giving us a tour. And I was looking at the cases and I looked at the tag case and they had this one open skeletonized Carrera that must have been like 45 millimeters with like the Batman bezel. And that was like, it was like a black hole. Like I looked at it and couldn't tell what the hell was going on. Like it's so confusing at first blush. It's very strange.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I agree. This is a well done one. And I think we were all pretty big fans of this watch. And I think this will kind of raise that brand's profile another big level after this. Ed Jelley, was there anything in particular that caught your eye?
Yeah, let me get my little tab open here. The Konstantin Chaikin Wristmon Minotaur. You know, these watches kind of bug me because they're like crazy expensive and they're like a kind of like a novelty piece. But I thought this one, like, if you're gonna go silly crazy, you might as well nail it. And looks like a bull minotaur. I know you can't see the bottom half, so you don't know, you know, if it's half man, half bull, or what,
or all bull.
But I'm just wondering.
I'm wondering. So the thing that stuck out to me was like the fact that the dial is a maze, and the story of the minotaur goes that, you know, he's locked in this maze underground by one of the, you know, kings, and he's this demon that's stuck in the maze. And I thought that the way that they did that kind of labyrinth dial was very cool. And the fact that they mismatched the top lugs to look like horns with the bottom more standard lugs was pretty wild. And you know, you got the bloodshot eyeballs on these little subdial guys. That's what's telling the time. I just realized that just now. It's crazy. You know, it's one of those things that like I like looking at it. I would never in a million years, I'm saying a million years, if for some reason I strike it very rich and maybe have some sort of midlife crisis, I could see myself picking this up and wearing it for a
You've got an orb on your desk.
Yeah, after the orb is on the desk, maybe I'd snag one of these. But no, it's very cool as like a fun piece. And you see a picture of it on wrist, and it's like that actually doesn't wear so bad. Like it looks I don't know. This is like way outside of things that I would even like jump at. I mean, it's not something that typically be on my radar, but I thought that they did a good job. I mean, I think they do the Joker watch, right?
With a similar concept.
That. It drives me absolutely crazy. I just hate it.
But it has like
Empire version.
It has like a cult following though. Like people love that watch, and I don't quite get it either, Ed.
It's a visceral reaction, and this one has a slightly more fun visceral reaction. I don't immediately want to close the tab. I like looking at it.
A now defunct brand took us to see Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, because this brand used to have some tie-in with DC, and somebody a collector who came to that was wearing the Konstantin Chaikin model, and that was the only time I've seen one in person. And it's like,
did you like it in person? Were you like, oh, I love that?
I mean, I don't know.
It didn't change your mind?
It's just so strange. It's just so strange. But I'm a definite fan of Konstantin Chaikin, what he does. You know, I think there's really interesting independent movement coming out of Russia as well. That's just worth, you know, a deeper look. But I like regulators. So I feel like, and this is a regulator. So I think, you know, it qualifies as definitely one of the more unique styles of regulator out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Zach Kazan, what's your take here?
I like this new watch, the Minotaur, and I like the Joker. I think that it's fun. But like to Zach's point, like I like Konstantin Chaikin. Like he's a really interesting watchmaker. If you go to his website, like he has a lot of interesting like very kind of like high concept watches. He does this like Mars watch that like shows like, you know, like multiple time zones on Earth and tracks like the equivalent of a Mars day as well. It's crazy. So he's just a really creative watchmaker who does a lot of interesting things. And sometimes I think it's kind of a shame that like the Joker watch and the derivatives of that get all the attention. So this was just an excuse to put the Mars watch in the show notes, basically, for me. But
forget all the Fortises and other space watches. This is the real practical one.
It's but yeah, no, he does a lot of cool stuff. He's a watchmaker. We should discuss more. I think.
Absolutely. All due respect to him, and I agree. I think people should spend some more time looking at them. And don't just like write off the Joker. If it's not your thing, it's not my thing. It's not Ed's thing.
The first one of the first Basels I went to, it might have been the first Basel. He had a booth in the Palace, and this was right around that time that he did the Moy Bridge. Is that what it's called? The one that has like a little wind up projector in it, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
and you can
sure. We're talking about,
based on the first film camera. So it's not just Jokers, Minotaurs, and Mars either. There's very strange other things.
Yeah.
But like totally unique. Like no one's asked. It's like, that meme. It's like no one, and then he's like, "Look at this thing I made."
He's the embodiment of that. I love it. No, that's cool. I think there's I like, even if it's a little out there and stuff. It's fun to see stuff like that. We're on the other side. We've got the like the new Royal Oak offshores.
Your pick, yeah.
My of course, yeah, my pick.
you just put a deposit down on the.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah. I think, but it comes, now they put the small tapissier pattern. The pattern, the Royal Oak pattern. They have like a small one and a giant one, so they put like a small one on one, and it's like 41 millimeters, I think, and then the big giant grand.
So did they add a new
pattern.
size? Like, is the larger one, the 43 or whatever, new? Like people were waiting for a larger one, or is that? I'm not familiar enough with the that line to know. I mean, this is purely me being naive,
you don't keep up with the Royal Oak offshore.
No.
Yeah, to be frank, neither did I. But
they're kind of cool looking.
But I like there's one that I like that has like, I like that they went back to the steel bezel, like the old, like the original Royal Oak offshore. And so it looks to me, it kind of like looks a lot like that. But if Royal Oak offshores are your thing, you do you. You're probably not listening to us right now.
But so I mean, I took a very quick look at these, and I just I noticed the ones that looked typical in their design and layout for what I know of the offshore. And I mean, some look nice. There's like a rose gold with blue that sort of looked like that Artisans de Genève honey gold, which is just perfect color combination kind of thing. Gorgeous. It's quite classy, even if on this giant watch. But then the other ones, which like got really like roided out on the pushers, but they went back to the 369 layout. Yeah. Like, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just changing. But I looked at it and thought like, wow, that isn't horrible. I don't know. It's big, it's bulky, but it's like,
if you need a watch that says, "Oh, I can party," but also I'm pretty classy.
Yeah, I mean, what watch does The Rock wear? That, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, someone's got to cater to the celebrity wrestling crowd or something.
Yeah. Ed Jelley, do you have a take on Royal Oak offshore for us?
I mean, I'm gonna say something nice. I'm trying to be positive in 2021.
Okay. Well, then don't. I don't want to. I don't want
being positive.
I don't want you to break your.
No, the pushers, the new pushers on the big boy are pretty cool.
Okay. There you go.
I do like that they went with the more mini tapisserie on the slightly less gigantic one.
Yeah.
It makes it slightly less garish and overbearing.
There you go. Okay.
A little backhanded compliment still counts, right?
Lovingly garish. Garish in the best way.
It's improved.
They're just, I don't know. I think this is a watch for a very specific type of person, and they'll have no problem selling them. Yeah. And, I'm not that type of person.
Yeah. Yeah, there is one Royal Oak offshore diver that I do have a little bit of a guilty pleasure for, and it's the old offshore diver. I don't know if you guys remember this. It had like the internal rotating bezel.
That like the big neon one?
Well, originally it was just black. Okay. It's just like a black, dive watch, I guess. I mean, still like kind of big and chunky, but I thought that was kind of.
I get it offshore.
Yeah. Off. Yeah.
When you're on your yacht,
Yes.
Yeah. When you're not participating in shorebound activities, you gotta break out the big boy for jumping off your swim deck.
Mm-hmm. As we do,
as one does.
As one does.
All right, let's get back. Was there anything else? Any other watches releases that you guys wanted to talk about? The Moser, maybe Moser Streamliner Perpetual Calendar. Did you guys see this?
I mean, that's my favorite.
This is your favorite release.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Of Moser's, not so much the Streamliner. I mean, I can kind of like take or leave that case. I like that they're breaking into like a high end sports watch, but I'm a huge fan of that perpetual calendar layout.
Sure, it's very unusual. I think it throws people off when they look at it. Like, where's the perpetual calendar, right?
It's not obvious at all.
Yeah.
The movement is, in photographs, it appears to be beautifully decorated. I don't know how much sense it makes to have a hand wound perpetual calendar. You'd think an automatic perpetual calendar might make more sense. I imagine most people who buy this watch, it's not going to be their only watch. That would be weird if this was your one and only watch, I think. So
it's
part of a rotation. It could be kind of difficult to manage the perpetual calendar aspect of this, but I just think it's incredibly cool. I'm a fan of Moser in general, and I love that perpetual calendar layout.
Do you know? So something I've read. There's actually a really good article on A Collected Man about perpetual calendars. It might have been specifically focused on the MBNF one. The
Legacy Machine Perpetual?
Yes, that one. Because of how clever their mechanism for setting and kind of doing the computation required is. Yeah. But there's a whole part of it about like how difficult it is to set a perpetual calendar and how they're notorious for being like broken or like, not like fully broken, but like semi-broken by users because it gets set wrong. So they have to go back and be factory reset. So I just wonder, like, I don't know anything about the Moser. And to your point of like, hand wound, like there's a lot of risk there. Like, no, I forgot, or I went away for 2 weeks. You have to like get somebody to babysit your cat and wind your.
You have to send it back to Switzerland and have them reset it. If you,
But this does not have a day of the week indication, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. It just has the date.
So it's the month and the month and then the date.
Okay, and then it has a little.
The leap year is on the back.
On the back.
It's on the movement. It's on the movement side. Okay. It shows the leap year indication. But there's a very small hand that shows the month based on the actual hour hand. Okay. Not an hour hand, the hour like marker, 12. Right? Yeah. So June would be 6. January would be 12, so on and so forth. And then the giant date window placed rather precariously somewhere around 4 o'clock, right, Zach?
Yeah, it's at 4 o'clock. But I was reading about this watch. It's so the date is actually on multiple wheels. I guess it's not like a single date wheel. Mm-hmm. So that's I thought that was kind of interesting. That's not something I've obviously with a big date mechanism you have multiple wheels showing two digits, but this shows the date in a single window, but it's on 2 wheels. So
but it's a big because it's a big date.
Yeah, it's a large aperture, but I don't think it shows it. It doesn't show it on 2 separate. It's not a 2-digit date. It's not like a longa style date.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of dates like this before. I forget there was actually some quartz movement that had a similar thing where it's because it's like oversized within the window, so it has to use like 2 discs that sort of overlap to do it. It's very neat.
Yeah, I like this one. I like the Streamliner in general. We had one in the office for a little while with the green dial.
It wasn't when they did the 3 hand. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Which it's a and I don't say this in a bad, like it's a strange case and bracelet to wear. Like I couldn't quite make, like I would need to spend more time with it.
I always found the Streamliner name a little misleading because I found it much more of like a kind of a biomechanical sort of a feel to it, almost Geiger-esque.
It has like an alien armor skin feel to or look to. It's beautifully crafted.
Yeah.
How the links come together. But on wrist, I had a really difficult. Like I would have needed to. I think we wore it around for a day or something like that. I needed a lot more time. Moser, I need more time with one of these. But I mean, I think we came away really impressed with the build quality of it, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's the case itself. It's not square. It's not round. It's not quite cushiony. I guess maybe a little bit. I don't know. But I mean, clearly very beautiful watch. I think I would have maybe preferred like a pointer date situation or something rather than the large, or like just the date or the the date to like right at 12 up on top and like even bigger or something like that. Like hey, if you're gonna do a big date, like let's do a big day. But it's
perpetual, but it's all on the movement on the backside.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah, I love that concept. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very Moser thing to do, to just kind of like put the date somewhere random and huge on the dial. Ed Jelley, did you see this? What's your reaction?
I did. I think it's a little like the dial's a little bit too open, even though there is an extra medium, maybe perhaps a large date at 4 o'clock lined
extra
up
medium.
with the crown.
That's good.
Extra medium. It's a little, I don't know. It's something just seems off about it to me. Like it's got those like kind of 70s style like hash marks that alternate in like a racing style pattern, and there's nothing super sporty or race inspired about the watch. That's kind of what it jumps out to me when I see that pattern. And then like I know Mosers are known for their excellent dial work, and like you want to see a lot of the dial, but I feel like it's almost too open. And for a perpetual calendar, like they hide everything, like that little tiny hand pointing to the month. They're not hiding the date. That's not hidden. But I don't know. It just feels like oddly wide open when like, and everything just seems kind of like pushed off to the side. Like that 10 o'clock power reserve indicator is like a little weird. At first I did like a double take. I'm like, did they goof the indice or the index rather at 10? Like what's going on there? But that's the power reserve. I don't know. It's just a little weird to me, which maybe is the point.
Yeah.
Maybe that just went over my head, but
you just don't get it, Ed. Okay.
I just don't get it.
They're definitely a provocative brand, and they're kind of their shtick.
But very cool that it's only 6.3 millimeters thick. That's kind of awesome. The bracelet's like super cool, like you said, kind of alien inspired, wacky thing. I'd like to like wear this one,
Yeah.
Like if Moser does give you more time, Blake, you just give me a call and I'll hop on the train and pop out there.
I'll come out and geek out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's something, I don't know. It feels like it's a little bit all over the place, but
yeah. No, it's doing its thing. Now is the month indicator, is it on the bottom of the hand stack? So that there are certain points of the day that the hour and minute hand will be
it's
covering it up almost entirely.
Bottom. Yeah. So if it's like 6 o'clock in June, you're not going to have any idea what's going on.
What month is it?
Completely lost. Yeah, I don't know.
You'll be totally lost for a little while.
Hope you don't have to write a check at that like particular time. You're really going to be screwed.
So wait around for
the
like
day. I mean, that's pretty obvious. You'll definitely know what day it is.
You're like, I'm really hot. It's got to be the summer.
Yeah. I guess it's
I'm just ballpark
July.
the month.
It's the 9th of something.
Yeah. No. I love that watch. It would be fun. It would be a fun watch to get our hands on. And so, we'll see what we can do about that. And I guess we should give a shout out to Oris. They did the Riga release for this thing, which I like quite a bit. Honestly, I like this watch. I think that if they took off the Riga's great, and I'm glad that they're bringing attention to it. I'll say that often. But if they like took the like Riga branding thing,
you kind of just want the watch.
I just want the like. That should be just a regular production. What is it? A big crown.
Yeah, big crown Pro Pilot.
Big crown,
GMT, and if I'm not mistaken, though, in the 41 millimeter case.
Yeah, the 41.
So, yeah.
It's a sharp design.
It's a great case.
I like the case design. I like the dial design. I think it's a handsome looking pilot watch
with the pulsations bezel, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's slick. So I like this execution. Nice job, Oris. There, and then they had a few releases. The upcycled Aquas.
Upcycle.
Which had the PET recycled plastic. Plastic. Well, I guess it is plastic.
It's plastic.
Like,
it's like ocean.
Layered
plastic,
dial.
Which is cool because no two watches are the same.
And they teamed up with hashtag Tide. I guess that's the name. Tide. Hashtag Tide. Who collects like plastic that would be ocean bound, and then processes it into raw materials to use for like fabrics or other plastics or cloth or this other kind of thing. So and Christopher Ward is doing the same thing, which is nice to see. All of these brands kind of like jumping on this and I had not heard of it in like 2 weeks ago, and now I've seen it all over the place, which is great. And so congratulations to Oris and Christopher Ward on doing something environmentally conscious, I guess. Right? I feel like soon enough this should be just like this is not even worth the conversation. Like, it's just default. Like, of course you use recycled plastics to make all the packaging for your watches or the straps or whatever. Like, it'd be, irresponsible not to.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, hopefully this is just kind of another step towards that direction. I'm happy to talk about it, but we shouldn't even have to. Like, it should just be
I feel like
par for the course. So, all right. Well, if you had something that you saw from Geneva Watch Days that you really loved that we didn't talk about, let us know. If you have thoughts on any of the watches that we did talk about, leave it in the comments, and we will touch on it maybe on a future podcast. I don't know. Maybe we'll try and get one of these watches and bring it on the podcast. I don't know if they give watches like this to bums like us, but we'll do our best.
Let's get them all at the same time.
Let's get them all at the same time. We'll put them.
We'll come in
here at Brooklyn Podcasting Studios.
Have some armed guards with us.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Ed Jelley, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. That was nice to have you.
No problem. Thanks for having me back.
Zach, thanks for being here. Josh, thank you for listening, and until next time.